what is your overall opinion just as of Kamala?
I mean, she's a completely empty suit. She's a completely empty suit. There is nothing there.
Mm-hmm.
And you can see it anytime anybody asks her a follow-up question, there is nothing there. She's got one layer of slogan, and then you scratch beneath the surface, and it's just vacuum. She's absolutely vacuous. I don't think she's smart. I don't think she's talented. I think that she is good at reading off a teleprompter in short spurts. I think the more you see her, the less you like her, which is what the American public have been experiencing every time they're reintroduced to her. So you get like Kamala Harris 1.0, and it's like fresh-faced senator out of California, hard-charging progressive. And within 5 minutes, everybody's like, oh my God, she's insufferable. I can't. And then it's like, here she is running for president in 2019, and she's fresh, and she's awesome, and she's joyful, and she's intersectional, and she's doing great in the polls. And then she blows up, and she doesn't even make it to California, and she's out. And then they pick her up off the scrap heap, and they make her VP. And like, third look at Kamala. She's probably amazing this time. She's going to be so exciting and intersectional, and she knows things, and she's whip smart. And then she's the least popular vice president.
Ghost
Yes.
for the last 4 years.
Yeah, because
you
what
didn't
happened
hear
is that
anything about
she
it.
was so unpopular over the first 2 years. They just hit her. They were like, we can't let her out in public anymore, right? She's like the crazy first wife in Jane Eyre. They like put her in the attic there and just left her there. And then finally he died, and they're like, we need somebody. Who's here? Let's grab Kamala. Let's do that. And so they grabbed Kamala, like, fourth look at Kamala Harris. I was like, oh my God, the brat and the joy and the dancing and Tim Walz and his crazy weird ass hands and all that kind of stuff. And
I mean,
then
they somewhat, not that we like her, but they somewhat succeeded
Yes.
in it a little bit.
For the first
which
few
is
weeks.
crazy. I don't know how they did it.
Well, I mean, the answer was they never let her answer a question. I literally, on my show, held a counter every single day that she didn't answer an adversarial question. I think our count got up to 48 days. I think,
Wow.
that she didn't answer a single adversarial question. That's a long time to carry your campaign without answering a single adversarial question. And then she started having to do interviews, and it turns out that she didn't have much.
Mhm.
And then she started, like, you can also tell that she's uncomfortable on the trail. She went from, like, they told her, whatever you do, don't laugh. Like, clearly, very early on in the campaign, because they knew that that was her kind of tick. Her nervous tick is the crazy laughter. And so they're like, don't laugh.
She does that every
What
rally.
And now,
Yeah.
right, as she's letting it out, you're getting the crazy laugh.
Yeah.
And everyone's like, I cannot have that haunting my dreams for 4 years. Like that I can't. Like, just
I
be
hope
awful.
not. What's your prediction? You're probably looking a lot into the early voting and stuff.
I'm actually not. So the
You're not?
early voting is a bad indicator.
Really? Why?
Well, the problem is that there's no good comp. So just data wise, so I'm a big data guy, obviously. So my gut is that Trump wins, and my gut's not worthwhile. So like, I've been wrong on my gut before, so I don't trust it. So my gut is that Trump's winning. I've been in pretty much all the swing states with the exception of Michigan. My feeling is that Trump has the inherent advantage in that his base is very passionate, and hers is passionate about him, but not about her.
Yeah.
No one can make a case for her.
Mm-hmm.
I did a debate with Sam Harris about this recently on Barry Weiss's podcast, and he was making the anti-Trump case, and I was making the pro-Trump case, but no one was making the pro-Kamala case because it's not makeable. You can't make a pro-Kamala case. You can make a case for not Trump, and you can also make a case for Trump, but you can't make a case about Kamala.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
And so that means that the real question is: are there enough people who are passionate about it being not Trump to overcome the number of people who are passionate about it being Trump? And I don't think so, but who
Isn't
knows?
there crazy early voting statistics though? Like I saw more Republicans have voted than Democrats in New Jersey.
Yeah, so that's why you can't take it seriously. He's not going to win New Jersey, right? So like the same thing is, so the only one where early voting really matters, because there are tons of mail-ins, is Nevada. So John Ralston, who's a ballot analyst over there, he does a really good job, and he says that the Republicans are running very strong in Nevada, which makes sense. I mean, Nevada, he's been running strong the whole race in Nevada. But as far as these other states, the problem is there's no comp. So there are a few things you don't know about the mail-in voting. Number one, you don't know if that's cannibalizing day of. Right, so if I was going to vote day of, like normally I vote day of, right? I have to be out of town to cover the election in Nashville this year, and so that means I'm voting early. I can't vote twice. So if I vote, early, that doesn't mean that Trump got an additional vote. It just means I voted early. So you don't know how much of the day of voting is being cannibalized by the early voting.
Right.
You also don't know how many of the people who are voting early are the low propensity voters. Those are the people Trump needs. So what's weird about Trump's electoral base is that basically between 2012 and 2016, Trump traded away all of the kind of suburban Republican votes in favor of rural Republican votes. Suburban Republican votes tend to be very high propensity voters, meaning they vote in every single election. Trump traded that away. Like, he lost a lot of that because of his personality. He's uniquely polarizing. And instead what he got was like a lot of loyalty from people who really don't vote for anyone probably except for Trump. And so that makes it really difficult to model the electorate, like super hard to model the electorate, which is why the polls were really off in 2022 in favor of Republicans, right? The polls were saying, well, in 2020, a lot of these people showed up, and then they didn't show up in 2022 because Trump wasn't on the ballot. So it's very difficult to model the electorate on that basis. So when it comes to mail-ins, are the early ballots that are coming in mail-in votes from low propensity voters, or is that coming in from like the high propensity voters like me? And you now have to wait to see if the low propensity guys are going to show up day of. So it's very difficult to kind of model out what exactly is happening. Each campaign is trying to hit its numbers. The other thing is that when you count the mail-in ballots, all you can count is how many ballots have been mailed in by party registration. If you have people who are crossing over, that it doesn't measure that, right?
Yeah.
If I'm a Republican, I voted for Kamala, or I'm a Democrat and I voted for Trump.
Just shows Democrat.
It shows
Republican,
you're a Democrat voter or a Republican voter turning in your ballot. Yeah.